I'm back to caving again. Last time I ended up spending the whole night standing on a pillar, just trying not to get blown up by mobs. Hopefully today goes a little smoother because the plan is simple. Go deeper, find some rare ores, and try not to embarrass myself in the process. And while I'm dodging skeleton arrows down here, I've got some wild Reddit stories for you. So yeah, just play this in the background, get cozy, maybe throw a blanket on if you're in bed, and listen in. All right. The first story is from the subreddit r/am I overreacting? Am I overreacting for leaving my wife after finding out she voted for Trump because she thinks he's hilarious? Throwaway. I'm M34. My wife Sarah is F32. We've been married 7 years. I've been doing amateur stand-up for about a decade. Open mics, small, local gigs. It's not my job, but it's a big part of who I am. Sarah's always been supportive in a practical way. She'll come to shows, help me rehearse, give me feedback, cover for me when I have late sets. But here's the thing. She's never once laughed at my jokes. Not a real laugh. If I ask, she just says it's not her type of humor. I've tried not to let it bother me, but honestly, it's always been in the back of my mind. Last week we were having drinks and politics came up. She knows my politics, and while never being outspoken, she always agreed with me. So it caught me off guard when I jokingly asked who she voted for, and she said, Trump. I thought she was kidding. She wasn't. I asked why, and she just said, because he's hilarious. The way he talks, the faces, the chaos, it just cracks me up. No mention of policies or anything like that, just that she thinks he's funny. I don't even know how to explain how weird that felt to hear. She's watched me try my hardest for years and never found me funny. But the guy whose whole shtick is being cruel and mocking people is what makes her laugh? I know it's just humor to her, but it's the kind of humor that I've always thought can be dangerous when people cheer it on. I made some stupid comment comparing it to dark moments in history, and she told me I was being ridiculous. Since then, I've been sleeping in the guest room and am making plans to stay with my parents for a while as I figure things out and find a divorce lawyer to get me out of this for good. I keep thinking and feeling sick. My friends say I'm overreacting, that not everyone laughs at the same stuff. But to me, it feels bigger than that. Am I overreacting? I get why OP feels gutted here. Like, your wife has sat through a decade of your stand-up sets. Never cracked a laugh, not even a pity chuckle. But the second Trump makes a weird face, she's wheezing? That's evil. That's like marrying a chef, never touching their food, and then saying, actually, I love gas station sushi because it's hilarious. And honestly, comedy is intimacy. You want your partner to laugh with you, not at the human embodiment of Twitter chaos. I'd feel like I'd just bombed at an open mic in my own house every night for 7 years. So, am I overreacting for leaving? Nah. I don't think so. Divorce sounds extreme until you realize it's less about politics and more about values, and in this case, humor is the value. If the only man who can make your wife laugh is some 78-year-old man, yeah, you've got bigger problems than your set list. Let's move on to the next story while I keep digging around down here. Hopefully this one doesn't get as wild.
Quick little update on where we're at in the game. I'm just keeping an eye on the ores smelting away in the furnace. While that's running, I need to head out and grab some dark oak logs. The planks are going to come in handy for barricading myself against vindicators. Super clutch when they swarm. And then, both the logs and the planks are going straight into the ground floor interior of the mansion. Gonna give it that solid, cozy look while still being functional for defense. This one is from the subreddit r/whatshouldido. How do I stop them? My neighbor's kids and their friends keep jumping on my fence to get on the roof of my garage, and it's causing the fence to sag so it's super hard to open it. I won't be calling the police on kids, and their mom doesn't seem to care. She watched them do it 2 nights ago. I've yelled for them to get off the roof twice, and they get off immediately every time and take off running. I just don't want to be liable for them get seriously injured, and I don't want my gate to keep getting worse.
I'm thinking of putting something sticky or slimy on top the fence to deter, but I don't want to attract bugs. Any thoughts, suggestions? OP actually has shared a picture of the fence, so let me throw that up on the screen for you guys. So, you've basically got a bunch of 12-year-old kids trying out for America's Got Broken Bones in your backyard, and Mom over there is treating it like a spectator sport. Here's my suggestion what you do. Don't call the cops, don't yell. Install one of those motion-activated sprinklers. The second they climb up, instant water park, baby. You're not the bad guy, you're just hydrating the youth. Or coat the top of the fence in something totally harmless but terrifying looking. Like bright pink pool noodles cut in half and duct taped up there. Kids see that and think you've installed some kind of Willy Wonka security system. Either way, you win. Your fence survives, your garage roof stays kid-free, and you get to watch the neighborhood's finest parkour team retire early. Let me know down in the comments, guys, what you would have done. Suggest OP some crazy ideas. Alright, so moving on to the next story. This one's kind of wild. And I the asshole for sending my wife an anonymous STD notification. I'm 32, have been married to my wife, Maria F30, for 12 years. We married young, had ups and downs, but never anything like this. About a year ago, she volunteered for a 6-month military-adjacent deployment. When she came back, she began acting different, including new clothes, hair, expensive nails. I knew it was a very traumatic experience, so I figured it was her processing the intense assignment. Then I noticed a guy. Let's call him Alex, hearting every one of her social media posts. I didn't know him, which was unusual, since we know everyone in each other's circles. She said they met on deployment and that I should let it go. Fast forward to about 4 months ago, when her team planned a, quote, reunion picnic. She got weird about who'd be there and where it was. On the day, she got dolled up and I overheard her telling a friend how cute someone was. She left at 11 a.m. and never checked in. By 9 p.m., I used Find My to see she was at an Italian restaurant downtown, which was an odd spot for a picnic. So I did what any self-respecting human would do. I drove to the restaurant. She was there with Alex. After that, all the alarms were going off. I didn't confront her. Instead, I called my brother, who told me about the ability to send anonymous STD notifications. I took a few days to figure out my next move. A few days later, I sent her one. She received a notification saying, "A partner tested positive for an STD and recommends that you also get tested." She didn't say a word to me. She don't say anything all day. Turns out she sent Alex a disappearing iMessage asking if he'd given her an STD. That was all I needed. I quietly got my affairs in order and told her I was moving out and filing for divorce. She still swears she's never cheated. I'll never tell her how I know. First thing, I don't really understand how you even read those disappearing messages. If you actually managed to pull that off, props to you, because sending your wife an anonymous STD alert is just wild. That's not even petty, that's a Bond villain move. Like, you didn't catch her at the restaurant, you didn't yell, you just clicked send and let her marinate in the paranoia. That's not a confrontation. That's a science experiment. And honestly, the fact she texted Alex instantly like, "So, did you get me something?" tells you everything. Ma'am, you're not supposed to speed run through the guilt like that. At least pretend to be confused. So, am I the asshole? Absolutely not. You didn't ruin her life. You just tossed a mystery grenade into it and walked away. 12 years married and she's out here having Olive Garden date nights with Alex. You are definitely not the asshole. Sign the divorce papers, get yourself tested, and please turn this into a Netflix special, because this is way funnier than half the stand-up on there. Alright, quick update on the game. I'm just going through my inventory right now, sorting out the slots. I'm only taking what I really need for the Woodland Mansion fight, leaving out all the extra stuff so I've got space for the loot later. Once that's done, I'll be heading over to the mansion and taking the enemies down one by one, nice and carefully, making sure I stay strategic the whole way through. Alright, moving on to the next story. Am I overreacting? Boyfriend finally got a job, then broke up with me for my past. Long story short, we've been together for about 2 years and have a 5-month-old daughter together. When we met, he was working a really good job and took care of the mother of his first child. And once he lost that job and came back to town, we got closer and I eventually let him move into my apartment as a single mom of a 4-year-old little boy. All he had was clothes, shoes, colognes, and a PlayStation. He would have jobs here and there, but never anything serious. I paid all the bills, which at the time I thought was okay because it was my apartment and we had just started talking. After a few months of him living with me and my son, he still was not contributing to any bills. Any kind of job he had was just enough to keep himself afloat. Before I met him, I had no issues paying bills or keeping up with my money. I had over $10,000 in savings and spent a very good amount of it on him trying to better him. Helping him with his car, helping him with resumes and his basic needs like food, haircuts, dinners, and drinks, hygiene, and nothing ever worked. Eventually, I bought a house in December because we were expecting a baby girl and I bought the house on my own. And he always promised he would get a job, a good job, so he could help pay the bills and take some stress off of my shoulders. We had an argument about 5 or 6 months ago because he went through my phone while I was asleep and read through conversations from 3 years ago of me with other men, along with my nude photos that I had sent. He called me disgusting and said that he would never touch me again. And we also had an argument because he asked me what my body count was, and I told him the truth, and he basically said he couldn't look at me as the same woman anymore. The number is 12. Almost 2 years I did this shit on my own, making $2,000 a month, paying more in bills than what I was making. Then finally last week or so, he gets a call, an oil field job, lots of hours and good work. He leaves the following day. Things were weird for a while, I won't lie. We had never been away from each other for more than a weekend and we just felt kind of disconnected. Then all of a sudden, on this random Thursday morning, he does this. Text. Screenshots attached. Which, it just so happens, he had just got his first check as well. So now that he is making good money, he makes almost my whole money for the month on the one check he got. He decides he can't look past my past. All of a sudden, and I just disgust him, and he doesn't love me the same anymore, and it's all he thinks about. I'm so lost and broken. I took care of this person for so long, for them to stab me in the back so randomly. Now I have 2 kids to take care of alone. Why do I do good things and be good to people if I never get the same in return? Am I overreacting?
Let me just throw up the screenshots on the screen so you guys can follow along with me.
Beautiful sunrise reminds me of you. You have time to talk or text. I still haven't been able to fully forgive you for everything that I found on your phone. It literally eats up my brain like a parasite every day. I can't stop thinking about it and you get the shit and stick of it. You really don't deserve to be treated the way I treat you just because it's constantly in my head. I've tried to tell myself everything in the world to make me feel better about how I feel about it, but nothing works. I don't know why, I just can't look at you. So let me get this straight. You basically adopted a grown man with a PlayStation, funded his glow up, fed him, kept the lights on, gave him a literal family, and the second he cashes his first decent paycheck, suddenly your past is just too much for him. Bruh, that's not a man. That's a build-a-bum. You accidentally upgraded to premium. Like he had zero problem taking your money when you were the one hustling. But the moment he can afford his own cologne, he's out here acting like he's the Pope of morality? Please. I guarantee you this dude's past is way messier. It's just not in your camera roll. You didn't lose a partner, you just returned a very expensive rescue project back into the wild. And honestly, good. Let someone else deal with him asking, do you have games on your phone? While you go live your best life without a third dependent. Alright, let's see what we got next. Moving on to the next story. Am I overreacting? My friend posted a not proper picture of me on Insta. IF15 and my BFF F15 had a sleepover last night, and today she posted sleepover dumps on her story. I saw it a little too late, like 6 hours after it was posted. She's kind of a public figure on Insta, 40k followers, and you can already guess that the majority of her followers are pedos. We talked about it a lot and she's never worried about it. I also told her I was never comfortable with her sharing my face there. But she did, and it's also a picture of me in a tank top and no bra with my hair up. It was a picture of us, but she did not ask me if she could post that. She tagged me too, and now I have so many follower and DM requests from pedos, married men, and just creeps in general. People from our school have seen it too and DM'd me asking if I stopped wearing hijab, and I'm scared it might reach to my parents. I educated her about my culture and religion, but it seems like she doesn't take it seriously or take me seriously. I feel so exposed and the picture is still up. I want to go to her house, but since I had a sleepover last night, I can't go out today. And she doesn't want to come over either. I feel violated. Am I overreacting? I don't know. She's making me feel like I am. She has shared some screenshots with her friends, so I'll put those up here for you guys. Why did you add that picture? Can you delete? Why? We look cute. I wear hijab. Yes, you do. What does that have to do with my story? Sorry, I've explained to you before. I'm a Muslim, and you added a picture of me not wearing a hijab, in a tank top, braless. Yeah, because we were having a sleepover. I don't get it. Yeah, you said you can't show your hair if we're going outside. Can you just delete now? I'm serious, I'm getting a lot of DMs. It's not just hair, OMG, please just delete. Like, repost without that picture, I'm stressing out. But so many people have seen it, if I repost it, it's like I'm desperate for attention. Just block them, don't stress, it'll be okay. You looked pretty, we look pretty, don't worry. Look, you're absolutely not overreacting. You told her your boundaries, she knew the cultural and religious significance, and she still posted the photo because she thought you looked cute. That's not just tone deaf, that's disrespect on Wi-Fi. This isn't about being shy or dramatic, it's about your safety, privacy, and values. And the just block them advice, that's like telling someone whose house is on fire to just close the curtains. She's putting her follower count above your trust. And if she can't respect you when it's important, she's not a safe person to keep close. You deserve friends who care more about you than their Instagram aesthetic. Because if she can't delete one post for your peace of mind, imagine what she'd do when the stakes are higher. Quick update. I'm barricading myself in by placing blocks all around me. That way I can heal up safely without any enemies spotting me. I've even got the blocks at eye level so they can't detect me. Once my HP's back up, I'll break out of the barricade and get right back to clearing out the mansion, hunting down the rest of the enemies. Alright, moving on to our next story. This one is from the subreddit r/whatshouldido. My dad has found and taken care of his new son without me knowing. My dad is a single father of just me. My mom passed away about 5 years ago, and that of course left a big hole in the family. Especially because, at least from what my dad has expressed to me, both he and my mom wanted another child. I've thought about it a bit, but as more time passed after my mom's death, my dad talked about it less, and I somewhat forgot about it. Fast forward to a year and a half ago, I began dating my current and first serious boyfriend. Keep in mind I'm a sophomore in college, so I'm a grown woman. At first my dad didn't care much, but he began to ask where my boyfriend was more and more, asking if he could come over, if he was hungry. Due to the two of us, me and my boyfriend, both dorming at our school, I sleep at my dad's place however every weekend, my dad doesn't see my boyfriend very often. Yet, he still would be really happy whenever he'd come by. This, most recent Thanksgiving, my boyfriend celebrated with my family, and that was when my dad expressed to him that he loved him. It was surprising. I'm totally fine with it. Usually it's the other way around. The parents won't like their children's partners, and I'm happy mine has welcomed my boyfriend with open arms. However, my dad throughout the night would keep telling everyone how he found his new son, how he had a family again. It somewhat weirded everyone out. My dad has that type of personality. He likes to say stuff like that, and he was drinking a bit too. However, it seemed odd. The following few days, my dad would continue raving about how he found his new kid, and he was so happy. I was still happy for him until he said that he wanted me and my boyfriend to marry soon. Hearing that, I simply told him to be patient, and that it wouldn't be for a while. I thought he would understand, and I guess he did. But once he heard that, he would stop talking about my boyfriend completely. I tried to tell him that we would make things quicker, just to cheer him up. But nothing changed, even when my boyfriend would see him. By early June, I again somewhat forgot he wanted another kid. He liked my boyfriend again, but he stopped calling him his son, just that he was a good young man and that he was happy to see him. Then last weekend, I've been staying with my boyfriend over the summer, I visited my dad to find a random person eating with him. When I entered,
The person said hi to me, and my dad introduced him to me. He told me that he had been talking to him for the past few months. I just thought, okay, it's someone he met at the gym perhaps, so I sat down and talked to them, and I didn't think anything of it at first. I guess it should be noted that my family is Asian, and that we live in the South in a primarily white area. The person my dad was talking to was also Asian, so probably my dad just had a connection with another Asian person in town. But my dad would describe him with such strong words. He said he was courageous, strong, wise. When the person left, I asked my dad how he met him, as I didn't ask earlier. As I expected, my dad met him at the gym. They were both playing basketball. Before I could ask another question, my dad told me that this person was his new son. I asked him what he meant, and he said that he loved this person and that he asked him to stay with him next month for a few days. I tried asking my dad more, but I couldn't keep up. He just kept saying how this person was so great and nice. He then told me that he was giving him money since early May and that he has been supporting him and helping him out with his car. He would proceed to follow that up by saying he went to his high school graduation in late May. I asked him why he never once told me that he had been doing this much with him, and he responded that he was afraid I would be jealous. When I said no, he got really excited and started saying in Mandarin that he has his family back together. After that, he told me he wanted to go to bed. The next day, he was happy again, but whenever I'd ask more, he would say to just wait for this person to come again. I'm currently back at my boyfriend's place right now. I don't even know what to think about this all. Is my dad having some sort of midlife crisis? That's not a joke, because why is he doing all of this? I could just assume he still wants another child, but why do all of this and not tell me? This is a big deal. However, I'm not saying he should. My dad has literally shown no shame or guilt or tried to hide this at all. He hasn't given me the person's contact, but he's told me so much, shared with me photos of them. I've thought about trying to put an end to this, but that would just be mean, right? Is that harming anyone? I'm worried it could be detrimental to my dad in the future, especially if this person doesn't want to actually be in my dad's life long term. However, I'm also scared that distancing my dad away from this person now could make my dad sad. He's not too old, I'd say. He's only 45. However, I'm scared he might have some issues I don't know about. Should I have him evaluated? I just don't know what to do. Everything seems like a bad decision. Is this even worth caring about? Sorry if this whole post is just a wall of words.
Look, your dad's not being malicious here. He's just trying to rebuild something he lost. So, am I overreacting? Nope. You're not overreacting at all. Your dad is clearly grieving in a very unconventional way. I don't think this is malicious. More like he's lonely, misses that family dynamic, and is trying to fill that void. But here's the catch. If this new son is genuine, cool. If not, your dad's basically funding the side quest for some random kid. But on a practical level, you might want to make sure he's not about to give this guy his Netflix password and the deed to the house. It's about keeping the heart open, but the wallet and expectations are realistic. Have a real talk with him. Suggest therapy or grief counseling, because adopting gym buddies into the family isn't a sustainable coping mechanism. And don't feel guilty for being concerned. You're not the jealous daughter. You're the only one looking out for him. Right now, I'm checking under the stairway to the 3rd floor for Vindicators. They love to hang out there, so it's a common ambush spot. While exploring the woodland mansion, I'm being super cautious. I'm going room by room, placing torches to make sure nothing sneaks up on me. Since I can literally get 2-shot, I don't want to risk dying deep in the mansion where getting my items back would be impossible. Alright, moving to the next story of ours.
Am I overreacting? My boyfriend might leave me because I cried over my deceased ex.
This conversation happened yesterday, and 2 days ago was my ex's 3rd anniversary of his death. Me and him were best friends since we were 11, and we ended up dating at 16 until 18 when he died. The current guy I'm dating is the first guy I've been in a relationship with since. And before anyone comes at me saying I'm after getting into a relationship while still having feelings for another person, that isn't the case at all. I understand my boyfriend can be hurt by what happened, but is it really enough for him to leave me over it? I'm kind of lost. Am I overreacting, or is he?
I'm putting the screenshots of the conversation. Let's have a look. Yeah, sure. Everything okay. Yesterday has been bothering me a lot. You crying over your ex really threw me off. I'm really sorry about that. I was overwhelmed with old emotions since yesterday marked the anniversary of my ex's death. I know, but I feel since you are in a new relationship, you should be over that. I'm questioning your love for me. My love for you is real.
I'm sorry, but it really doesn't work like that. You can't expect me to not mourn someone's death. I'm sorry, but it really doesn't work like that. I might have to rethink what I'm after getting myself into. I'm going to go home after work. Can you just come over? We can talk about this, instead of letting it linger. No. Okay, hold up. So you cried over your deceased ex, which is absolutely normal. And now your boyfriend is treating it like you broke the internet? That's not grief. That's his emotional GPS just flatlined. Crying over someone who passed away. That's not being dramatic. That's being human. This isn't too much information. It's too much emotional immaturity from him. So, am I overreacting? Nope, you're not the overreactor. He is. If he can't handle you grieving someone you loved before he was even introduced, that's on him. Grief doesn't follow a dating timeline. Let him figure out if he's ready to handle a grown-ass human with a past. Otherwise, tell him it's not up for debate. It's reality. Alright, moving on to the last story for today.
Am I the asshole for giving my pregnant GF an ultimatum? My GF, Jen, and I have been together for 4 years. Back in April, 2 great things happened. We found out Jen is pregnant, and I closed on a house for us to move into. Our family and friends know about the pregnancy, including Jen's best childhood friend, Amanda. I will admit I never liked the dynamic between Ananda and Jen, but it did not really affect our relationship since Amanda lived across the country. After finding out about the pregnancy, Amanda decided to move back home. We live in Jen and Amanda's hometown. Amanda has been back since late May, and all hell has broken loose. Jen has always felt a little self-conscious in our relationship. I work construction and do personal training. She feels intimidated by small girls, but I have no idea how. She is a sexy AF woman with amazing curves. Amanda has done nothing but played into Jen's insecurities and anxieties since being back. Jen and I have never been the tracking location couple or looking through phone couples. We always considered that a red flag in a relationship. Amanda has convinced Jen that she needs to start doing that. So she has been looking through my phone on a regular and finding nothing. I have communicated my hurt and frustration and that I think she needs to distance herself from Amanda. She kept rebuffing my concerns. About 2 weeks ago, Jen again asked to look through my phone. I told her in no uncertain terms that this will be the last time she looks through my phone. If she again sees nothing suspicious, then she needs to agree to go to counseling and distance herself from Amanda. She agreed, looked through my phone, and found nothing suspicious. But she soon reneged on her promise to do counseling and distancing herself from Amanda. I decided to move out. We are currently on a month-to-month lease in an apartment until renovations get done on the house I bought. I am staying with a friend until the house is ready, and then I will move in alone. Jen has asked me to reconsider. I refuse. She will likely need to move in with her mother, which is not ideal given the limited space, which I feel terrible about for my child. Am I the asshole? This isn't really about a phone. It's about trust rot. You and Jen had a healthy boundary. No snooping, no tracking. And Amanda cracked it open. Now Jen's insecurities aren't whispers anymore. They're full volume because Amanda keeps feeding them. From Jen's POV, she's pregnant, vulnerable, and listening to the friend who's amplifying her fear. From yours, you're trying to protect your own dignity and sanity. Both make sense, but they clash. And when one partner refuses counseling, while the other begs for it, it's usually the beginning of the end. Unless something major shifts. Are you the asshole? Not really. But ultimatums in relationships are like controlled demolitions. Sometimes they're necessary to clear unsafe ground. Sometimes they just leave a bigger mess. The real heartbreak here is that Amanda isn't the actual villain. She's just a catalyst. The insecurity was already there, and pregnancy cranked it up. Without counseling or a reset, it was always going to detonate. So no, you're not the asshole for holding your line. All right, that's going to do it for today's stories. If you made it this far, first of all, thank you. I appreciate you. If you enjoyed hanging out, go ahead and hit that like button, maybe subscribe if you want to see more. And hey, let me know in the comments what you think, or if there's anything I can do better. I really do read them. All right, love you 3000 guys. See you next time.